Hello everyone, welcome back. Tom with Capo Fetish. So today we're going to talk about album sides from the 1960s, favorite album sides. Um, I'm sure we all have these albums that we love all the way through, but I'm sure there's those particular sides that we always gravitate towards, right? We want to listen to that side two on that particular album first, or side one on that particular album, maybe not the whole album. So I've just gathered about 20 different albums from the 1960s that with our particular sides that I gravitate towards more than the other side. A lot of the time I'll listen to the whole album, but sometimes I just want to listen to that one side. Okay, so I'm going to start off here with an album that has really just one good side, and that is Love's Da Capo, released in early 1967. I think the majority of it was recorded in 66, but this is a solid side of an album, side A. You've got Stephanie Knows Who, Orange Skies, Que Vida, 7 and 7 is The Castle, and She Comes in Colors. This is a real varied selection of songs, just brilliant stuff. Every song sounds different. 7 and 7 is almost like pre-punk. And you've got all these other different styles going on. You've got The Castle, which is all over the place, kind of folk, but it goes into all these different realms. She Comes in Colors. I don't even know how to describe a lot of these songs, but anyway, this is one of my favorite sides from the 1960s. Love Da Capo, side 1. Another side I always gravitate towards on the Beggar's Banquet album by the Stones from 1968 is side 2. You've got Street Fighting Man, Prodigal Son, Stray Cat Blues, Factory Girl. Very, very cool tune. And Salt of the Earth. Love that side. Of course, I love side 1 too, but for some reason, I'm always gravitating towards side 2. Nevertheless, a great 5-star album. Next, I have 1969's Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere by Neil Young. Solid album all the way through, but I love side 1, I think, just a tiny bit more. Cinnamon Girl, Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere. Round and Round, great little ballad there, and Down by the River. Great stuff by Neil. Another great side, even though it's kind of a side of singles, maybe that's why I like it so much, because it's so strong, is side 2 of Bookends by Simon and Garfunkel. You've got Fakin' It, starting off side 2. You've got Punky's Dilemma, great tune, Mrs. Robinson. Hazy Shade of Winter. And then you've got it closing with At the Zoo. Just 5 perfect songs there on side 2 of Bookends by Simon and Garfunkel from 1968. Another great one here is, I love Eli and the 13th Confession from 1968 by Laura Nyro. But side 1 has some of the most uplifting tunes. Let me get my glasses here. We've got Lucky, starting the side off with, and then Louie, Sweet Blindness, Poverty Train, Lonely Women, and Eli's Comin'. Of course, covered by Three Dog Night a few years later. It's a great album, but side 1 always does it for me on this album here. 1966's Hums of the Lovin' Spoonful. One of their most solid records, but you can't beat side 2. Rain on the Roof, Coconut Grove, Nashville Cats, Four Eyes, and Summer in the City. Perfect side from the Lovin' Spoonful. 1969's Arthur or the Decline and Fall of the British Empire, an absolute gem of an album, one of the best of all time. Side 1 is, though, I always am reaching for. I always want to hear side 1. And that is Victoria, Yes Sir, No Sir. Some Mother's Son, one of the great anti-war songs. Drivin', nice jaunty little ditty. Great rocker, Brainwash, and then the side ending with the epic Australia. Great side from the Kinks, from Arthur, from 69. Now, Jimi Hendrix has a lot of good sides, and we've been talking about Jimi Hendrix a lot in this channel the past few videos. But I've always loved side 2 of Axis Bold as Love. Especially the way it starts off with You Got Me Floatin'. That is such a killer tune. It rocks. You got Castles Made of Sand. She's So Fine, a great Noel Redding number. Backup vocals from Jimmy. You have One Rainy Wish, Little Miss Lover, and the phenomenal Bold as Love track, ending side 2. Love that. That's side 2 of Axis Bold as Love, Jimi Hendrix. Another favorite side is Aretha Franklin's I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, side 1. How can you beat Respect, Drown in My Own Tears, I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, a great tune. Soul Serenade, Don't Let Me Lose the Stream, and Baby, 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 ending side 1. This is from 1967. This is her first major release on the Atlantic label. Another great, just solid side I always throw on is the third Velvet Underground album, side 1, from 1969. Candy Says starts it off. The great Doug Yule vocal. And you've got What Goes On, nice, good rhythm guitar workout. You got Some Kind of Love, has that really cool bopping kind of rhythm. And then 2 just awesome ballads, Pale Blue Eyes, and then ending with Jesus, all on side 1. Fantastic record. I'm always gravitating towards side 1 though. One of Bob Dylan's greatest sides, in my opinion, is side 2 on Bringing It All Back Home. The softer side, the acoustic side. Mr. Tambourine Man, Gates of Eden, It's All Right Ma, I'm Only Bleeding, and then ending with It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. Perfection. This came out in 1965, right? Quite a prolific year for Dylan. After this, he would release Highway 61, Blonde on Blonde. Those 18 months really were prolific for Dylan. Another wonderful side for me is The Doors' Strange Days, side 2. This is probably one of my most played sides of all time. People are strange, my eyes have seen you, I can't see your face in my mind, ending with the epic When the Music's Over. Probably my favorite Doors side, 1967. First Leonard Cohen album, songs from Leonard Cohen. A phenomenal debut, perfect album, but there's something about side 2 I always gravitate towards, and this is why. Side 2. You've got So Long, Marianne. Hey, That's No Way to Say Goodbye. Stories of the Street. Teachers, and then one of the great album closers, One of Us Cannot Be Wrong. This is on the original Columbia label. Another great side is the first Chicago album, also known as Chicago Transit Authority. You've got a side 1 opening with just 3 absolutely phenomenal songs here. Introduction, which really showcases Terry Kath's amazing guitar playing. Then the classic Does Anybody Really Know What Time It Is, one of the great singles of the late 60s, and then the amazing Beginnings, all on side 1. Another great one is from the Byrds, the notorious Byrd Brothers. Another just epic record all the way through. Sometimes less is more, and I think side 2 is just 5 perfect songs. Changes Now, this great like psychedelic solo from McGuinn, I believe. Old John Robertson, great little country ditty. Tribal Gathering, great song by David Crosby, just great harmonies. Another great one by Crosby, Dolphin Smile, one of his best. And then ending with the psychedelic Space Odyssey. What a great, great album, great side. And another great side here is Buffalo Springfield Again. Their second album from 67. I really love the first side the most. Mr. Soul, Child's Claim to Fame, written by Richie Furay. By the way, Mr. Soul is one of my favorite Neil Young songs, solo or with Buffalo Springfield. You have Every Days, which is kind of like a slow kind of cocktail lounge psychedelic track by Stephen Stills. And then you've got the real kind of almost new agey Expecting to Fly by Neil Young, really surreal and beautiful. And then the epic Bluebird by Stephen Stills. Now, I saw the Buffalo Springfield reunion back in 2011, I believe. And I don't think this song could ever be replicated well live, because I've heard live versions of it too from CSN on different live albums and stuff, and nothing ever compares to this studio version. It really is a studio song, you know, with all the guitars and all the production and everything. It's just magic. So I love this album all the way through, but side one especially, just dig it. And then when it comes to the Beatles, it's not really side two of Abbey Road. I love side two of Abbey Road. I love Olive Revolver and Rubber Soul, but for some reason, I always gravitate towards side one of the British Help. I just think that this is just the epitome of mid-60s pop right here. I mean, just absolute perfection, right? Help, The Night Before, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, I Need You, Another Girl, You're Gonna Lose That Girl, and ending with Ticket to Ride. I mean, just 7 amazing pop songs from 1965. Of course, they had, you know, a bazillion great sides of the Beatles, but this, for some reason, I'm always putting this side on. For decades, I've been putting this side on constantly. Love side one of Help. And then a few more here. I love the first Procol Harum album. It's a definite one of the best debuts of all time. One of the great albums of the 60s. But side two really does it for me. A Christmas Camel, Conquistador, Kaleidoscope, Salad Days Are Here Again, and the Hammond workout by Matthew Fisher called Repent While Purges. Incredible stuff. Incredible album. And then, of course, Pet Sounds. I always go to side two. I love side two. God Only Knows. I Know There's an Answer. Here Today is such an underrated track. I Just Wasn't Made for These Times. Pet Sounds, the title track, and then Caroline Now. Perfect side. And I also really love the first side of the Gets Gilberto album. I love the whole album, but this is a stellar record, starting with The Girl from Ipanema. You got Doralice, a third track I can't pronounce, and ending with Desafinado. Really good stuff. I mean, I could go on and on with 60 sides, but these are the ones I seem to always gravitate towards when I'm playing sides from this era. So there you go. There's my favorite 60s sides. What are yours? Let me know. Thanks for watching, as always. Thanks for subscribing, as always. Have a good one, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.